Hello, and welcome to a tutorial on creating a Magic 8-Ball app. Our team used MIT's App Inventor to create this app which randomizes responses to posed questions. The tutorial will be broken up into 4 parts: gathering materials, creating a clickable button accompanied by sound, creating lists to generate random responses, and swapping out clickables with shakables. Let's begin. Use the links in our written instructions or the description below to download the image of the 8-ball and a sound to play when we initiate the 8-ball sequence. We've got a few options for you here. Choose one. Now that we've got our 2 items down here downloaded, let's move on to part 1, creating a clickable. Begin by signing into your App Inventor account and start a new project. On the left side of the page, make note of the various drawers jam-packed with tools. In the upper right, we've got a Designer and Blocks tab that we will toggle between to create the app. Here on the right side, we have a Properties window where we can make adjustments along the way. Let's begin with a button. Drag a button from the user interface on the phone face. In the Properties window, set the image to upload your 8-ball image. Click Upload File. Choose the file that you downloaded and click OK. Scroll down and remove that background text by deleting it from the text box. Now let's add sound by adding a player component from the media drawer on the left. Again, drag it onto the phone face, and notice when we drag this in, it appears down at the bottom as a non-visible component. In the Properties, click on Source to add your audio file. Again, go to Upload File, choose File, and select the sound file you chose to begin with. Let's go over to the blocks now to make the components work together. First, let's bring in a button block. Bring in When Button Click to trigger a reaction when we tap the 8-ball. The reaction we want is to play our sound, so we'll click on Player 1 and bring in Call Player 1 Start and drag it in until it clicks. And that takes care of part 1. Let's test it out. Now that our 8-ball button is playing sound, let's add the option to generate random responses. In the Designer window, drag out a vertical arrangement component from the Layout drawer. We'll use this to give the user instructions by placing items in a listed orientation. From the User Interface drawer, bring out a Label component and drop it into the vertical arrangement. In the Properties pane, change the text to Ask Magic 8-Ball a question. Now drag another label out and again drop it in the vertical arrangement. Notice there's a blue line under Ask the Magic 8-Ball a question, which tells me the label will drop into the vertical arrangement right under the first label. Let's change the text for this one to prompt the user to touch the Magic 8-Ball. We've got all we need here. Let's head over to our blocks editor to make these new components work together. In the blocks pane, we see our vertical arrangement with our two new labels. Label 1 is just information for the user. Label 2, on the other hand, we want to produce our 8 balls answer. Click on Label 2 and choose any of the Set Label 2 blocks. Change the second drop-down to Text. And then take this block and drop it into the gold When Button 1 click so that we can trigger a response with the sound. Now, what to make the 8 ball say? Use the lists drawer to find the Pick a Random Item list block. And drop it into our Set Label 2 text. We've just told our program to randomize from a list to be attached next. Let's go ahead and make that list. The Make List block in the Lists drawer has only 2 options. Click on the gear to add 6 more items. After all, it is an 8 ball, so we need 8 responses. Fill in these empty ends with text blocks. And fill them in with text. Our team chose some of the responses traditionally used in a Magic 8 ball, but you could potentially write anything in this randomized list. And with that, we're done. Let's test it. There is an alternative for this particular code. After all, what's an 8 ball if you can't shake it? In our design window, select an accelerometer sensor from the sensors drawer. Drag it onto the face of the phone, and again, this will create a non-visible component that appears below our phone window. We've got all we need here. Let's head over to the blocks editor. The change here is a simple one. Swap out When Button 1 click with When accelerometer sensor shaking, and you're done. Let's test it out. And our work here is done. Enjoy your Magic 8 ball.